How's it guys? So today's video is a result of a request from one of my viewers, M13 who mentioned that I should look into doing a direct comparison between the M13 and M4A1. Such a comparison does make sense since recent nerfs and adjustments to various Cold War rifles make weapons like the M4A1 and M13 that was slightly buffed recently a lot more viable. So which one of these two Modern Warfare rifles would be your first choice in Warzone? In this video we aim to answer that question by checking out the base stats, time to kill and recoil of each weapon, as well as the best class setups to see exactly where the strength and weaknesses of both these weapons lie. If you guys enjoy this type of content and want to stay up to date with the best weapons to use in Warzone, make sure you're subscribed, leave a like so this video can reach more people. We're on our way to that massive 400 subscriber milestone and I would love to have you guys as part of the journey. And without further ado, let's get technical. Jumping straight into the time to kill and base statistics, we can see the M13 has the M4A1 beat when it comes to fire rate and damage range drop off. With a fire rate of 891 rounds per minute, the M13 is one of the fastest firing weapons in Warzone, even beating some SMGs like the OTS-9 and Cold War MP5. This makes the M13 a really forgiving weapon when it comes to missing shots, as the fast firing rate keeps the time to kill very consistent. And looking at pure time to kill, this is one area where the M4A1 pulls ahead of the M13, having a faster TTK for chest, stomach and extremity shots in the first damage range, and a much faster time to kill in all situations in the second damage range. Even when looking at shots to kill, the M4A1 also has the M13 beat, requiring one less bullet in the first damage range for chest, stomach and extremity shots, and matches the M13 when it comes to headshots in the first damage range. The gap widens even further when we look at long range shots to kill, with the M4A1 needing 2 less bullets to kill for body shots and 1 less when it comes to headshots. So far the M4A1 seems to be pulling ahead of the M13, but how do they match up when it comes to another important factor, recoil? Let's check it out. Starting this test off with the M4A1. This is me just shooting, not trying to control the recoil at all. The recoil on the M4A1 is very consistent, pulling slightly to the right. Let's check the M13. Straight off the bat, the M13 has much less vertical recoil. While it also pulls slightly to the right, it's much less so than the M4A1. Overall, this makes the M13 easier to control, especially for new players, and also makes keeping that fast fire rate on target much more straightforward. Both of these tests were performed with the meta builds, which we'll get into now. Jumping into the M4A1 build first, since we are building these weapons for medium to long range engagements, we will focus to push out our effective damage range as far as possible, while also increasing our bullet velocity. By taking the monolithic suppressor, we get a 10% boost to effective damage range and a 15% boost to bullet velocity. To push that effective damage range out even further, we'll take the M16 barrel. It will give us a 40% range increase and a 53% bullet velocity increase. Next up, we take the Axial Arms 3X, the best medium to long range engagement optic in my opinion. Now moving over to ammunition, we take the 60 round mag, just makes it easier to engage multiple targets at once. And lastly, we take the Commander foregrip, just to assist us with vertical and horizontal recoil. So we end up with a class setup prioritizing bullet velocity and effective damage range, while keeping our recoil as low as possible. Next up we'll do the same for the M13, also starting off with the monolithic suppressor for that boost to bullet velocity and effective damage range. We match it up with the Tempest barrel for a further boost to effective damage range and bullet velocity. Next, we take the Axial Arms 3X for the same reasons as with the M4A1. When it comes to ammunition, we stick with the 60 round mag for maximum ammo capacity. And lastly, we take the Commander foregrip for 6% vertical recoil reduction and 15% horizontal recoil reduction. So we also end up with a build prioritizing bullet velocity while pushing our effective damage range as far out as possible. When looking at how this build changes the stats of each weapon, we can see the M13 ends up with a 5 meter further damage range drop off. It also takes the lead when it comes to ADS times, movement speed and sprinting speed. The M4A1 does have an advantage when it comes to bullet velocity, making it slightly easier to engage moving targets at a distance. It also takes the lead when it comes to reload times, with a reload time of 2.23 seconds. But overall it's still quite evenly matched between these two weapons, so with all of the testing and statistics in mind, what's the final verdict? For only the second time on my channel we have a tie, with both weapons having enough positives and negatives to not warrant a clear winner. The M13 is the more forgiving weapon when it comes to firing rate and missing your shots. It also has less recoil than the M4A1. The M4A1 does make up for it with a faster time to kill in the first damage range and second damage range. It will just be a little bit harder to hit your shots. But overall I think you can't go wrong with any of these two weapons. The M13 will be more forgiving for new players, while more experienced players will prefer the M4A1. So while these two weapons are closely matched, there might just be another Modern Warfare weapon that combines the best of what both these weapons offer. But that's a test for another day. But let me know which one of these two weapons you guys prefer in the comments below. Thanks for checking out this video, and if you want to stay up to date with all my future uploads, just double check, make sure you're subscribed, stay safe, stay gaming, and I'll check you guys in the next one.